What is the dumbest question someone legitimately asked you? What nationality are you? Canadian. No, I mean, what nationality? Do you mean heritage? Polish, I guess. No, listen. Nationality. I don't know what you're asking. Nationality, like, are you white, black, etc.? Just look at me. I'm white as snow, and that's not nation. Cool, I didn't want to assume anything. Hey, you can't just assume that I'm white just because I have white skin. My boss says, could you print out that file, scan it, and email it to me? I could just email it to you. Look, I'm not paying you to get jobs done. I'm paying you to stay busy, okay? Not anything super mind-boggling, but I worked as a server at an infamous Italian restaurant during college. Here's my favorite interaction with a guest one evening. So they say, I'd like to order the spaghetti with marinara sauce, but can I get the fettuccine noodles instead? I say, sure thing. Oh, and I'd also like to please substitute the marinara with Alfredo sauce. And please add chicken. I say, I would have to charge you for the chicken Alfredo then. Note that there was a few dollars in price difference between the two dishes, Alfredo being more expensive. They say, but I ordered the spaghetti with marinara. I legitimately had to argue with this person for a few moments as to why I couldn't magically substitute out the entire entree for a different one with no price difference. The guest ended up being super crabby for the remainder of the time, and I'm fairly certain didn't tip at all. Well, time to scratch that off the list of loopholes to try. Don't you find it stupid that Obama is the only president without a last name? It is very suspicious, I'll give you that. If penguins need water to survive, doesn't that mean they're fish? Well, in that case, I guess we're all fish then. Is that an uppercase spacebar? Yeah, it is a little strange that the tab button and the enter button both have way more authority than the spacebar as far as putting gaps in your text. However, the spacebar gets to be the biggest, so is the enter button really the uppercase spacebar or the other way around? I was asked to a friend of mine who worked in a bookshop, excuse me, do these stairs go up? Yeah, unfortunately we're too poor to have two staircases. If I was a rich man, I'd have one big staircase going up and another one coming down. When PT Cruisers first came out, the very first one my mother saw was a black one. She actually thought it was a hearse for children or midgets. I'm not making this up. The good old PT Cruiser is just the budget hearse. Now you can never unsee that. One of my good friends builds computers. He sold me the components of his old desktop, and he brought it over to my house so he could transfer them to a new case for me, and then build his new computer. It was taking a while, and my mom was agitated that he was there for so long and asked, is what you're doing even legal? Uh-oh, I think Mom's on to our black market computer building business. I used to be a high school college prep teacher. One semester, I had quite a number of students who said they wanted to become surgeons. So one day I showed the class a neat video of a surgeon slicing open a grape with a scalpel, and then stitching it back up with this new, technologically advanced pair of robotic arm things. The video was met with many oohs and ahs, and when it was over, a hand shot up. I'll never forget her question. What was wrong with the grape? Yeah, unfortunately with this food shortage, we can't let any food go to waste. So if even one grape is sick, we need to perform surgery so that it can be safely eaten. I used to work at a bakery. A customer once asked me, when the bread isn't warm anymore, that means it's not fresh anymore. So I can have it for free, right? No. See, a good response to that is, well, if it's not fresh anymore, then you don't want it anymore, right? Going through the border from Canada to the US, a border guard says, what's your citizenship? So I hand over my passport, which notes my birthplace as Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. The border guard says, no, what's your citizenship? I say, I'm Canadian. He says, what's your citizenship? I say, I don't know what you're asking me. He says, where were you born? Was it Columbia? I say, British Columbia is a province in Canada. He waves me through. For working in a border between US and Canada, you'd think you'd recognize a place from Canada. I had a customer ask if she could pay her bill over the phone. I asked what kind of credit card. Cash. She wanted to pay cash over the phone. Hey, we've been over this. All you gotta do is input the serial number of the bills, and that will void the cash. Which then you could go and spend because nobody else is gonna know it's void. Are you gay? No. Why? I don't know, Jerry. Just not feeling it today. Now I'm just thinking of that story from, I think it was last week, where the two gay guys were at dinner and one just yells to the other, people like you are why people are straight. Do foreign exchange students go home to do homework? Yes, someone really asked that. Yeah, I gotta take a 40-hour flight to get back home so I can start doing my homework. I'm not even allowed to do it while on the plane. I used to work for Bank of America as a teller. Someone gave me half a $20 bill and asked for $10. They did not understand that it was either worth $20 or nothing. Somewhere I've actually got a tiny sliver of a $100 bill, just like a corner that was ripped off that I found in the grass one day. I mean, maybe I could take that into the bank. It's probably worth at least $1 or $2. Man, imagine if there was a system that actually worked like this. Like, you go to pay for something, and they're like, oh, here's your change, and they just take one of the bills and rip it in half and give it back to you. She asked me why the sky in Georgia and the sky in California look the same. Don't worry, your eyes just have to adjust to it. It'll look different soon. Did you choose to be half Asian? Yes, this was an actual question that was asked of me. Yeah, don't you remember the character customization screen back before you were born? I mean, I swear, that was one of the most fun parts about getting ready to go to Earth. My sister once asked me if the humans killed all the Homo sapiens because they were stupid. Also, when she found out that you need more stamps to mail a big package, she asked how many stamps it would take to mail a car. My dad told her 50 as a joke, and she just nodded her head and said, "Oh, that makes sense." She was in college when she asked both of these questions. Oh, how life would have been different if we kept the Homo sapiens around. So I work IT. I asked a person if her mouse was wired or wireless. She said, "How am I supposed to know that? This is your job." Oh, okay, we can figure this out. Let me just give you a little test. So, okay, are you sitting at your desk? Okay, pick up your mouse. Now stand up with your mouse still in your hand and start walking away from your desk. Now, did it just start tugging on your computer and yank your monitor onto the floor? It did? Okay, then it's wired. I called to order a pizza, half plain and half pepperoni. The pizza girl, sounding unsure, I guess we could do that. Which half do you want the pepperonis on? Well, typically when I order pepperoni, I only want it on the top half of the pizza. Can't you drive to Hawaii? Well, you can, but only if you started in Hawaii. Once a classmate, this was on year 10 or year 11, asked me how I managed to put ice in a plastic bottle. A friend of mine proceeded to tell her that there was YouTube tutorials on how to cut open and glue the bottle back together, and that it was super easy. Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it? Man, I was doing it completely wrong when I was working landscaping. Not asked to me, but to a buddy in the military. We will call him Tony, and we were in a pretty intense course in the military a few years ago, and Tony had a problem with asking our instruction a lot of freaking questions. If they asked if anyone had questions, Tony had about 3 or 4 that could easily be answered by any one of us. This obviously pissed our instructors off to a point where one snapped, "Tony, why do you ask so many freaking stupid questions?" Tony smiled and replied, "So I don't do something freaking stupid, Sergeant." Everyone, including instructors, started laughing. Minus the instructor, who was legitimately pissed off with Tony. Man, Tony, he got him good. Well, now it is time to move into our bonus segment, because this was kind of too short, and I found another thread that continues this topic even more. What is a question so stupid, it gets more complex the more you think about it? Why does store-bought lemonade have imitation flavoring, but furniture polish contains real lemon juice? Oh, nice, so you finally discovered the secret. They don't want you to know this, but you're actually supposed to use that furniture polish to make lemonade. How high up does the sky start? I'm thinking somewhere around here. Flammable, inflammable, non-inflammable? Why are there 3? Either a thing flams or it doesn't. Yeah, okay, you got me there, that's a good point. How many grains of sand do you need to make a pile? A bunch. Why are most cartoon suns drawn wearing sunglasses? What are they protecting their eyes from? Yeah, if anything, they're just going to be casting one big shadow out onto the world. On the Ricky Gervais show, Carl Pilkington once came out with, "Do you control your brain, or does it control you?" They mocked him, but man, that made me, You know why I believe that I have free will? Because I don't believe for a second that there's anybody out there who has any reason behind all of the weird stuff that I do. I've never been able to land on how time will work if we ever make it to other planets. Literally everything we've established is relatively arbitrary because of our very particular relationship with the sun. Yeah, if you ever leave Earth, make sure that you keep your clocks charged at all times, because if the clocks die, you're gonna have no idea what time it is when they come back on. How many holes does a straw have? I don't know, go ask Vsauce. What would happen if Pinocchio said, "My nose will grow now"? Well, I'm thinking maybe he would just get a semi, or he would just get swallowed up by a black hole. Why does grape-flavored stuff taste like purple and not grapes? I don't know, sometimes I feel like grape stuff tastes more like green to me, but there are green grapes, so it would make sense. 50 grams of peanuts. Ingredients, peanuts. Warning, contains peanuts. Why? It's just what happens when you got too many regulations overlapping each other. Can cereal be considered as soup? Only if you heat it up in the microwave. I mean, nothing cold can be called soup, that's just gross. When I was a teenager, I helped a guy install carpet. He grabbed me a $2 drink earlier at my request, and owed me $20 for the day. I told him to just give me $18. He refused, insisted that I give him $2, then he gave me $20. "That's called business," he said. It was so stupid. I've never been able to make up my mind whether it was actually stupid, though. Now, what he should have done is he gives you the $20, but just tears off a bit of the corner. Why do they call them fingers? I've never even seen them fing. Man, what are you talking about? My fingers fing all the time. Which side of a backpack is the front? If I had to guess, probably the left side pocket. How can mirrors be real when our eyes aren't? Oh hey, I know who said this one. Wasn't this said by Sal's leg tattoo? Why is real estate a thing? Is there a fake estate as well? Yeah, but you don't want anything to do with that. It's a very obvious scam. You know, maybe they're just saving that term for the metaverse housing. What is the difference between a maze and a labyrinth? From what I've always thought is like a labyrinth just has one clear pathway all the way through, while a maze has lots of wrong directions and dead ends. If you owned your house and the land that is on it, do you own the land to the center of the earth? Not if there's oil under it, you don't. Has anyone really been far, even as decided to use, even go, want to do, look more like? Oh hey, you even answered this one too. You've got to be kidding me. I've been further, even more decided to use, even go, need to do, look more as anyone can. Can you really be far, even as decided half as much to use, go, wish for that? My guess is that when one really been far, even as decided, wants to use, even go, want, it is then that he has really been far, even as decided to use, even go, want to do, look more like. It's just common sense. My guess is that when one really go to weights in expansion has entranced in deciding for which it is really far, even to use, go, want, despite boundaries overlooking like more does. Which does hindrances of all being aside, this are mine. They don't think it be like it is, but it do. You know, funny enough, I actually have an easier time reading that than I do reading some people's grammar on this board. If you owned a boat made out of wooden planks, and each day you replace one old plank with a new plank, until all of the old planks have been replaced, is that still your boat? Now if I took all the old planks and built an identical ship, which is your original boat? Yeah, and when I replace every single part out of my PC, is it still the same computer? Well, that's gonna do it for all of the stupid questions today. You know, sometimes I find a thread with some really funny stories, but there's like so few of them that it's not really enough to make a full video. So I just find 2 or 3 threads that are all on the same topic, and it kind of puts together one big video like this. I'm sure many of you are wondering what's with the weird angle today. Well, I just wanted to try out recording while standing up. I felt like I have more freedom being able to move around and make more gestures. It feels a lot more lively. However, it does take a little bit more energy than I was expecting, but we'll see how this turns out.